When we hear about the Black Panther movement, the first thing that often comes to our minds are images of young African Americans wearing distinctive clothing, carrying weapons, and openly defying the police. But was it really a violent group as the media portrayed it? Or was it a form of self-defense against police brutality and social injustice? That was the question that led us to begin this investigation. Were the Black Panthers a social threat or a response to an oppressive and discriminatory system? In this video, we will teach you about this movement in depth. Why did this movement emerge? Where did it come from? What were the social conditions that made it possible? Then, we will outline the most notable events in its history through a brief timeline. We will also show you and talk about some of the key figures who led the movement, such as Huey Newton, Bobby Seale, and Fred Hampton. And finally, we will make a small analysis of what eventually happened. What did this movement achieve? Were there changes in American society? And why is its legacy still so relevant? So, if you have ever wondered whether the Black Panthers were heroes, villains, or simply victims of their context, watch this video.
The Black Panther Party was established in 1966 in Oakland, California, by Huey P. Newton alongside Bobby Seale. The party's initial aim was to patrol African American communities to safeguard its citizens against instances of police violence. The Panthers gradually evolved into a Marxist revolutionary faction advocating for the armament of all African Americans, exception for military draft for African Americans, and immunity from all punitive measures of so-called white America, along with the liberation of all African Americans incarcerated and the provision of reparation to African Americans for centers of oppression inflicted by white Americans.
Protagonists or important figures of the movement. Huey P. Newton. He was born on February 17, 1942 in Monroe, Louisiana, U.S. He was an American political activist, co-founder of the Black Panther Party, a symbol of a Black power and also controversy. He was responsible for analyzing gun rights, providing legal education, and organizing community assests. He led armed citizen patrols to monitor the police and defend the community. Bobby Seale. He was born on October 22, 1936 in Dallas, Texas, U.S. He was an American political activist and organizer. He was also co-founder of the Black Panther Party along with Huey P. Newton. He was one of a generation of young African American radicals who broke away from the traditionally nonviolent civil rights movement to preach a doctrine of militant Black empowerment. Fred Hampton. He was born on August 30, 1948 in Chicago, Illinois, U.S. He was an American civil rights leader and deputy chairman of the Black Panthers Party's Illinois chapter. He advocated for the expansion of youth programs, healthcare, and multiracial solidarity. Hampton used his talent as a communicator to create what he termed a rainbow coalition, an alliance of the Panthers with other groups, organized around racial, ethnic, or ideological affiliation. He was killed in a carefully planned police raid.
In 1961, Huey Newton and Bobby Seale met at Merritt College in Oakland, California. While attending classes, they began to question the absence of Black history in the curriculum. Their shared concerns and activism sparked the beginning of their political partnership. In 1965, the assassination of Malcolm X deeply impacted both Newton and Seale, and the ideas and legacy of Malcolm X became a major influence on their political thinking, pushing them further toward revolutionary activism. In 1966, in response to rising police violence and systemic oppression, Newton and Seale founded the Black Panther Party for self-defense. The group begins organizing armed patrols in Black neighborhoods to monitor and confront police misconduct. Their message was self-defense, racial pride, and revolutionary change. In 1967, first in May, members of the Black Panther Party, led by Newton, marched armed into the California state capitol. They were protesting the Mulford Act, a bill intended to ban the public carrying of loaded firearms, which was a direct response to the Panthers' patrol tactics. Then, in October, Newton was involved in a shootout with police that left Officer John Frey dead. Newton was arrested and charged with murder, leading to the powerful national Free Huey movement. In 1968, Newton was convicted of voluntary manslaughter. Meanwhile, the FBI intensified its COINTELPRO surveillance and disruption campaigns against the party, branding them a threat to national security. In 1969, two young party leaders, Fred Hampton and Mark Clark, were killed during a police raid in Chicago where nearly all bullets fired came from the police, reinforcing the Black Panthers' warnings of government repression. On May 29 of 1970, the California Court of Appeals overturns Newton's conviction. He was released from prison, returning to the party as tensions and fragmentation began to surface. During 1974 until 1977, Elaine Brown led the Black Panther Party. Her presidency marked a significant moment for gender inclusion and leadership by Black women within the movement. The party began to collapse in the mid-1970s due to internal divisions, accusation of mismanagement, and repression. Huey Newton traveled to Cuba, later returned, and was found guilty, which was later acquitted of embezzlement. In 1982, their community school was closed, and the Black Panther Party was considered to have officially ceased to exist.
We don't hate nobody because of their color. We hate oppression. We hate murder of black people in our communities.
The movement began to decline in the early 1970s due to a combination of factors, these being government repression, internal tensions, and negative media portrayals. One of the most significant factors was the FBI COINTELPRO program that was created to target the Communist Party, but it expanded to include civil rights groups, feminist movements, and the Black Panther movement. Despite its end, the movement left a lasting legacy. The Black Panthers launched many community-based programs that address inequities faced by African Americans. For example, the Free Breakfast for Children program. It was launched as a response to child hunger and poverty in Black communities. It was the first major community initiative, and it became one of its most successful. This program fed thousands of children daily, and at its peak, they were feeding more than 20,000 kids every day across at least 36 cities. They also had community health clinics. They established people's free medical centers across the United States. These clinics provided free health care, offered testings for diseases like sickle cell anemia, and raised awareness about Black health issues at a time when such care was rare in Black communities. They also had education programs. They created liberation schools, also known as intercommunal or freedom schools, that taught African Americans about their heritage, and they also trained them to become leaders. These schools were designed to challenge the racism and exclusion in the public education system. The Black Panthers movement empowered Black communities to demand justice and challenge systematic racism. Their emphasis on self-defense, education, and Black empowerment influenced other movements like Black Lives Matter. Although the Black Panthers no longer exist, their fight for dignity, justice, and empowerment lives on in many of today's social movements, and their impact continues to shape their fight for social justice and civil rights.
The Black Panther movement was much more than a response to police violence. It represented a turning point in the history of this fight for civil rights and racial justice. The Black Panther showed that community organization could be a powerful tool for creating a real change. In this sense, their legacy remains alive, inspiring today movements that continue to comfort the same structures of inequality. Conducting this group research on the Black Panther movement allowed us to develop not only a deeper historical and social understanding, but also a set of essential skills on both academic and personal levels. One of the main skills was to listen to different opinions and make decisions together to achieve a good outcome. We also improved our organization and time management, working with a defined deadline, and this work gave us a profound learning experience about the importance of recognizing silence, struggles, and it made us reflect on the present reality and understand that real change requires constant effort, courage, and organization.